Black's widespread movement characterized, as Eisenman says, by shifting metaphor, a variety of slightly different designations used for the same people, shifting with time, translation, and transliteration, just as Caesar evolves into Kaiser and Tazar. It would thus seem that the Qumran community was equivalent to the early church based in Jerusalem. The Nazorians who followed James the Lord's brother. Indeed, the Habakkuk commentary states explicitly that Qumran's ruling body, the council of the community, was actually located at the time in Jerusalem, and in Acts 9.2, the members of the early church are specifically referred to as followers of the way, a phrase identical with Qumran usage. The Acts of the Apostles. Apart from the Gospels themselves, the most important book of the New Testament is the Acts of the Apostles for the historian. In fact, Acts may be of even greater consequence. Like all historical documents issuing from a partisan source, it must, of course, be handled skeptically and with caution. One must also be cognizant of whom the text was written for, and whom it might have served, as well as what end. But it is Acts much more than the Gospels, which has hitherto constituted the apparently definitive account of the first years of early Christianity. Certainly, Acts would appear to contain much basic information not readily to be found elsewhere. To that extent alone, it is a seminal text. The Gospels, it is generally acknowledged, are unreliable as historian documents. Mark's the first of them was composed no earlier than the revolt of AD 66, and probably somewhat later. All four Gospels seek to evoke a period long predating their own composition, perhaps by as much as 60 or 70 years. They skim cursorily over the historical backdrop, focusing essentially on the heavily mythologized figure of Jesus and on his teachings. They are ultimately poetic and devotional texts, and do not even purport to be chronicles. Acts is a work of a very different order. It cannot, of course, be taken as absolutely historical. It is, for one thing, heavily biased. Luke, the author of the text, was clearly drawing on a number of different sources, editing and reworking material to suit his own purposes. There has been little attempt to unify either doctrinal statements or literary style. Even church historians admit that the chronology is confused, the author having had no direct experience of many of the events he describes, and being obliged to impose his own order upon them. Thus certain separate events are fused into a single occurrence, while single occurrences are made to appear to be separate events. Such